channel. My name is Brianna and I am a flight attendant for a major US airline. Thanks so much for watching this video and welcome to another Vlogmas episode. So should you go to flight attendant school? I want to preface this by saying I'm only speaking on behalf of commercial US airlines. I'm only speaking on the US. I have heard that it is different in other countries where you do need to go to flight attendant school, and I think being a corporate flight attendant is also a little bit different, so I'm only speaking on commercial airlines in the United States. I have seen and gotten this question so much. And prior to me filming this video, I had never done any real research on it because it wasn't something that I was interested in doing personally. But I wanted to see how they were advertising these schools to make so many people think it was necessary to complete in order to become a flight attendant. I wanted to know what the cost was like and what type of curriculum they were going to be teaching in order to become a flight attendant. So I did some research and I'm gonna break it all down for you guys today. Alright, so the first school that I came across when I searched flight attendant school was the travelacademy.com, and I want to talk about this first screenshot. I want to focus on the part that says airlines hire those with flight attendant training or experience first, and that they prefer to hire those that have lived a travel lifestyle. This is not true. Now, I am not a recruiter by any means, but there are plenty of airlines that hire flight attendants with no previous airline or travel experience. Sometimes they actually prefer it if you don't have any airline experience because it's going to be a lot harder to train you, because now you have to unlearn your previous airline in order to learn your new airline. Also, there were tons of people in my training class that had zero flight attendant experience whatsoever. It was kind of split. There were some of us that did have prior experience and then those who had no experience whatsoever. When I started at Spirit, I had absolutely no flight attendant experience at all. I also had no experience with the travel lifestyle that they're talking about. Honestly, what airlines look for the most is customer service. Customer service experience. Do you have any of that? Which most of us do. Airlines want to know how you're going to treat their customers or passengers. They want to know how you can handle stressful situations, how you work under pressure. Those are the things that airlines are going to be looking for. They're not going to be focused on whether or not you have previous flight attendant training or experience. Now, I know that some people might tell you different, where, oh, airlines don't want to hire you if you've been a flight attendant before, or airlines want to hire you if you have experience or no experience or whatever. The fact of the matter is, none of that really matters. If you know how to treat customers, if your resume is up to par, if you can answer the interview questions the way that they need to be answered, whether you have previous flight attendant training, not training, doesn't matter. What it comes down to is you do not need previous flight attendant experience or training in order to become a flight attendant. This second screenshot that I took from this website shows things that you are going to learn. As you can see, it says things like emergency procedures, safety demos, PA announcements. Now, all that might seem great, but I'm going to tell you why that's actually problematic. I genuinely don't understand how they can teach certain things like emergency procedures and your PAs and your aircraft configurations and your safety demos, because each airline does things a little bit differently. So you could be going to this class, learning all these things, then get hired on with an airline and it's completely different. For example, Southwest, you are required to have all of your PA announcements memorized, and their PAs are completely different than what United's are, and vice versa, and it's just all different. Each airline has their own way of doing things, so you can't go to a flight attendant school and learn all of this stuff expecting it to be the same as what the airline that hires you on to be training you in. You know, every airline has different emergency procedures, different commands, different evacuation processes. It's all different. My commands at Spirit are completely different than what my commands are now. You know, also each airline has different aircraft that they fly. Spirit only flies Airbus. Southwest only flies Boeing 737s. United flies both on top of a larger fleet than both of those airlines. So it's all just dependent on the airline, the aircraft. There are so many different factors that go into it, and you're just not going to be helping yourself by taking these courses. However, I can see how someone with no flight attendant experience, with no knowledge of the industry, can find this enticing, because it does seem like, oh, all the information that I'm going to need to know, I can do this beforehand and I'm good to go. Like, the airline doesn't have to do anything. That's not how it works. Now I want to talk about the cost about this particular academy. You can see from this screenshot here, it's going to cost about $8,000 to $10,000. Y'all, please do not do this. Do not spend this type of money on an academy like this that, in all honesty, is not going to help you. If you have this type of money that you are willing to put into a flight attendant school like this, an academy like this, honestly, what you need to be doing is taking that money and putting it into a savings account, because I promise you are going to need it when you are in flight attendant training and your first couple months of being a flight attendant on the line. You are going to need that money saved up, because most flight attendant trainings are not paid, and if they are paid, you get a weekly stipend, or, you know, a food allowance or minimum wage. It's still not going to be enough to pay your bills. So you are going to need something saved up. And most of the time, you're also not going to be getting your first paycheck until about a month and a half in, depending on when you start flying and how their pay schedule works. So you are going to need this money saved up instead of spending it on some school that's just, yeah. Now, the next website or academy that I want to talk about is this one that I came across. It's called inflightinstitute.com. And this is what they're advertising for flight attendant certificate courses. It says here that these courses may reduce your live training time with your airline. This is 1000% not true. It doesn't matter if you have one of these certificates. It doesn't matter if you go to flight attendant school. You still need to complete the same 6.5 weeks or 4 weeks or however long training is for that specific airline. You still need to complete it just like everyone else. So these certificates are not going to reduce your training time. I can promise you that. I don't know where they get off on saying something like this, but this is so dangerous. It's false advertisement, you guys. You are still going to have to complete your full training course. Now, this particular website seems to be one that has individual courses, and you pay for the individual course that you want to take, and so on and so forth. This one here shows it's for cabin crew, first aid, and medical emergencies. Again, I highly recommend against doing stuff like this, because each airline has their own procedures and has their own way that they want you to handle these medical emergencies or just emergencies in general. The description here states that you're going to learn about in-flight medical emergencies. If you are or want to become, you know, like CPR certified, that's fine. However, again, even with a CPR certification, you are still going to have to go through CPR training with your specific airline. It doesn't matter if you have these certificates. You still have to complete the full training course. You still have to pass their exams, their tests, their drills, all of the above. Now, this course here shows that you're going to be learning about the Boeing 737-700, which is the primary aircraft of a lot of major commercial airliners. So again, I can see how this might seem enticing, and it seems like it's something that can benefit you. And while I don't know exactly what this course is going to be focusing on, I can tell you that, again, each airline has their 737s laid out differently. You know, emergency equipment is going to be located in different areas of the aircraft dependent on the airline. Your galleys are going to be different. The interior is going to be different. Lots of things are going to be different. So again, this could hurt you more than it could help you, because you're going to have to relearn everything at the airline that decides to hire you, and that gives you a CJO There are some other courses like how to become a flight attendant or multiple flight attendants on board. Like, I have no idea what they could be teaching you in that multiple flight attendants on board course, because again, every airline has their own policies and procedures. It's all going to be different. So if you want my take on it, my honest answer is do not do it. Do not go to flight attendant school. It is not worth it. You don't need to be spending thousands, hundreds and thousands of dollars on flight attendant school when the airline that hires you is going to train you for everything that you need to know. It's just a giant waste of time and money that you will need in your first few months of being a flight attendant if this is something that you actually decide to pursue. Now, if you do need help with resumes and interview questions and things like that, Abbie Unger is phenomenal at this stuff. She is the founder and owner of Flight Attendant Career Connection. It is a Facebook group. I think she also has her YouTube channel under that, and there is highly valuable information on her channel. She does also, I think, one-on-ones, resume help, interview. She has an interview question booklet, which is actually something that I got before I had my interview with my airline now. It's just very, very helpful, and I can tell you 100% it's going to be more helpful than these flight attendant schools are. I also don't know of any flight attendants that went to flight attendant school. I've never heard of any of them saying that it was helpful or anything whatsoever. Majority of flight attendants that I've talked to, that you will also probably talk to, are going to tell you it's a big no. What the airlines really want to see is your customer service experience. And I have seen someone say, oh, well, I've only been doing childcare for the last 30 years. That's not much of a resume. But it is, actually, because being in childcare for 30 years, working with kids in general, that shows that you're patient. That shows that you know how to handle stressful situations. That shows that you're safety oriented, because the main job of a babysitter is making sure that the children are safe. There are so many ways that you can use that experience and put it towards becoming a flight attendant. There are just lots of ways that you can use whatever experience you have in creating an amazing resume. As always, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I will do my best to answer them for you. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not you go to flight attendant school is yours and yours alone, but hopefully this video was helpful in helping you make that decision. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, say hi in the comments, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.